Madam Chairman, thank you very much. I don't fear at all the process you've set forward, as long as it is open, clearly transparent, and allows a fair and responsible vetting of alternatives. My position has been consistent over the years, Madam Chairman. Cap and trade is obsolete in its approach toward greenhouse gas reduction. It hasn't worked. I don't think it will work. This bill clearly distorts. If you're a coal state, you have the allocation. If you're not a coal state, you don't. My state of Idaho is the cleanest state in the nation today, and we're proud of that. We get nothing but higher energy prices. There is no benefit for Idaho unless you design a system that is output-based. And so, therefore, entering this concept, the concept is flawed. What we're doing in an economy-wide way is simply transferring wealth. That does not stimulate the kinds of things that we need. When we were crafting EPAC 05, I jokingly said, Madam Chairman, we ought to call that the Clean Energy Act of 2005. Why? Because what it did is now showing up in the marketplace. It stimulated nuclear, it stimulated cellulosic in the area of biofuels, and it has stimulated greatly efficiencies. That's where we ought to be headed, because in every one of EPAC 05's issues and results, we're producing clean energy. And we haven't penalized the consumer. We are not distorting the marketplace. We are driving ourselves, as we should, by allowing our government to incentivize the marketplace toward cleaner energy. Now, I'm sorry Senator Clinton isn't here today, because last week out in Iowa, she did something that somewhat surprised me. And I was frankly, let me put it this way, Madam Chair, and I would wish your attention. Senator Clinton did something that surprised me and deserves to be complimented by it. I'm going to hand around a chart that shows what Senator Clinton has proposed as it relates to climate change legislation, from CAFE to portfolio standards to RFS, incentives, much paralleling what the current administration is doing in some respect, and much paralleling what many of us on this side are doing in relation to driving a marketplace toward efficiencies and new and clean energy. So I applaud the Senator. I wish she were here today. I don't often compliment her, but she deserves to be complimented when she gets it right. And I find that it's most interesting that it is in many ways in conflict with the great piece of legislation that some are bestowing compliments on the day that are driving us in the direction that this committee thinks it's being driven. I would request of you, Madam Chair, a thorough analysis by EIA and by EPA of this legislation. We're going to request that. There should be a time of adequacy so that we can thoroughly understand. None of us dispute the magnitude of the effort. None of us, therefore, dispute the magnitude of the impact of the effort if we get it wrong. The rest of the world is frustrated. They've tried and they're failing, and it's only through new technologies and efficiencies and incentivizing the marketplace to drive us in that direction that we get there. This is not a time to rush to get it wrong. This is a time to think about and work at getting it right. And therefore, Madam Chair, I would respectfully request that the markup of Lieberman and Warner be postponed until we have the effective and responsible analyses by those, shall we say, impartial groups and impartial observers, so that we can look at this through the eyes of somebody other than those of us who, by our character, tend to be a little bit more political than we tend to be policy. And in this instance, I would hope that we could back off, take a deep breath, and allow ourselves to analyze what we're doing as we do it. I thank you, Madam Chair.